This is the 2024 Toyota Grand Highlander Hybrid Max, and I think this is the best three-row SUV right now. Powered by a 2.4-liter four-cylinder turbo and a hybrid system, all making 362 horsepower and 400 pound-feet of torque. And I think Toyota just made the best three-row SUV you can buy right now. If not, it's at least the most compelling. It's priced at $59,878 for this specific example after delivery, which is more than the top trim Telluride, more than the Palisade, more than the Pilot, more than the Subaru Ascent, and more than the Pathfinder. But the base Grand Highlander hybrid starts at $45,000. Here are 5 exterior features that will make you want to have this on your driveway. Number 1, we like big cars that make big, bold statements, and this one looks like a RAV4 that has been supersized. It's boxy, has a robust look, and I love the proportions of this Grand Highlander, and I think it looks great when compared to other good-looking SUVs like the Grand Cherokee, the Honda Pilot, and the Hyundai Palisade or the Kia Telluride. Number 2, the front end has a subtle use of chrome, not too much and not too little, it's just right.
Whoa, Goldilocks!
The chrome highlights the hammerhead front grille, and the LED light hardware looks pretty good and gives off plenty of light at night. My question to you guys is, do we still like big grills? Because if you look at this grill, this is the only opening that you need. You don't need this massive opening, it's just this. Number 3, I like that you can lock and unlock the car through all the doors in the SUV, so you can even lock and unlock using the back door here. Number 4, I like the classy 20-inch wheels. This is a good-looking wheel for this big SUV. And number 5, I like the ground clearance on this thing. This has over 8 inches of ground clearance. So while I won't take this on serious off-road trails that other Toyotas can do, this should be able to easily handle the more tame stuff. And as for the paint, this is called Storm Cloud, which looks exactly like the skies right now. And I think this is an awesome shade of blue. And I like how you don't have to pay extra for this color. Let's move into the interior. And I am a big fan of brown leather interiors, and this Grand Highlander comes with a portobello leather and ultra suede finish. This is a modern looking interior, and I'll admit it looks better than it is to touch. It feels very much like a Toyota vehicle, but I know that this is going to be pretty durable and last for a very long time. Number 2, I like physical buttons and switches. Yay! This is a big SUV, so there's lots of storage spaces peppered throughout the car. Let's start with the armrest here. I like how you can open the armrest and you don't have to take off your elbows in here. So if you have your rear occupants trying to reach for something in here, you don't have to bother the front occupants. And then if you look up front, right above the glove box, there's this fairly big cavity. You could put your phone or maybe a power bank and some cables in there. And then down below, only on the passenger side, you have this nice little cavity here so that you could store some other objects. Over in the center console, you have your cup holders. And if you have your very large tumblers, you could fit that in here, so that's a nice feature. And in front of that, you have another large space where you could store your phone. This is your wireless charger. I'll talk more about that in the technology section, but very wide open. And I like the amount of features in here. You have heated and ventilated seats. You have heated steering wheel. Back here, you have this large panoramic sunroof. Over in the second row, you have some captain's chairs. You have this privacy screen. And stepping in, automatic climate control and also heated seats and ventilated seats as well. USB-Cs and this 120-volt outlet for your household items. And in between, you have a set of cup holders, some slots to put whatever you want. But the best part is that this whole thing goes out of the way so that you could step back into the third row. By the way, if any of you are inventors out there, this is a pretty cool interface where you could just make anything that attaches to this car, assuming that you have the same physical interfaces. So, potential business idea right there. Getting into the third row, you have some switches here to slide the seat forward or just fold it down, or you could just fold this and then slide the seat forward. Getting into the third row, I love this third row because this is actually usable by adults. Let's push this thing back. Look at this leg room. The second row occupants are going to be pretty comfortable, but this is comfortable for adults. Usually these third row SUVs are for little kids or small adults, but in here I'm 5'8" and I'm very comfortable back here. And if you look over here, you have some cup holders and this really interesting slot here for your phone and also more USB-Cs. And if you look up top, you've got vents and also your own light, just like the second row. To get into the third row, this is powered. And this opens up to 20.6 cubic feet with the third row up. And here's an example. I have a 30-liter photography bag here just for a frame of reference. And if you look down here, you've got your dedicated jack and also a storage location for your tonneau cover. And you could fold the third row just by flipping up on the switch. And with the third row folded down, you get 57.9 cubic feet of space. And with all the back rows folded down, you get over 97.5 cubic feet of storage. Which makes me wonder, can I fit a 4x8 sheet of plywood in the Grand Highlander? Let's go find out. Let's go to the smallest opening, which is by the corners. Yeah, 48 inches, just right over there. It opens up a little bit more, but this is the narrowest opening. Let's go all the way forward from the rearmost point. To the back of the armrest. You have 7 feet over here. So no, not quite, but it's really close. You know what? I take all of that back because I just noticed this bump out here on the third row. And if you measure from this narrowest point, it's really only about 45 inches. So not quite 4x8. If you want to fit a 4x8 sheet, you just have to go over this hump here. And I don't really think that's a wise idea unless you build something underneath it to support the sheet. Now let's talk about technology. And here are 5 features that I like in the Toyota Grand Highlander. Number 1, I am loving this 12.3-inch infotainment system. This also comes with wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. The native infotainment system is just okay. It all works well and the menus all make sense, but I think they're just one iteration away from it being perfect because they don't have a multi-view page in here just like Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Number 2, there's another 12.3-inch display here, and this is for the instrument cluster. It's a very nice presentation. I like that when you switch through the different driving modes, there's a nice little animation in there that shows you the car. And if you're worried about digital displays blanking out on you, because that has happened to me before, well, that's an interesting problem. Rest assured that I have driven a bunch of Toyotas with these displays and none of them have blanked out on me just yet. So again, that's just my personal experience, but I find this to be fairly reliable. Number 3, there is a heads-up display in front and that helps you keep your eyes on the road. That's always a nice addition. It makes the car feel much more luxurious. Number 4, have I mentioned the amount of USB ports in this car? You have 1, 2, 3. You have a traditional cigarette style port here underneath the armrest. Number 4 and number 5 in the second row, and then 6 and 7 on the other side. And on top of that, you have the 120 volt outlet in the second row and a second one in the storage area. And I also like the JBL speakers in here. There's 11 speakers throughout the entire car. It's good sound quality for the car's price point. There's also the 360-degree camera view so you can see all around you. And if you look up here, the rear view mirror becomes a digital rear view mirror. So if you have stuff in the second row blocking your sight lines, this will give you a clear view. As for the driving experience, this is powered by a 2.4-liter 4-cylinder turbo with a hybrid system. So it's making 362 horsepower and 400 pound-feet of torque. It goes 0 to 60 in about 6 seconds. And that engine is attached to a 6-speed automatic, so this is not a conventional Toyota hybrid system that we've known since forever, because those would have an eCVT type transmission. This is great because the electric motor gives you that instant torque, and then the turbocharger takes over when it has full boost. Altogether, this is making 26 miles per gallon in the city, 27 in the highway, and 27 miles per gallon combined, which is really good for an SUV of this size. My only issue with this car is that the braking is a bit awkward here because sometimes the regen braking from the electric motor feels a bit aggressive at times. I think you'll eventually get used to it the more hours you put behind the wheel. As for steering, the electric power steering feels good. There's plenty of assistance, so steering feels light and still has good enough feedback. As for the handling, I like the performance of this new architecture. The chassis is more stiff and it makes the car feel like a smaller car. Altogether, I think this is a great driving experience. So this Toyota Grand Highlander has a really great look. It has lots of features on the inside, nice tech, and that driving experience for this car is pretty good. It's a bit more expensive, but you know what? That little bit of extra cost makes it worth it in my opinion, making this, I think, the best 3-row SUV you could buy right now. So I really want to thank you for tuning all the way till the end. If you've learned something from this video, please consider hitting that like, subscribe, and that notification bell so that you could be notified the next time I make a new video. Let's wrap it up right there. My name is Hanson, and this has been the 2024 Toyota Grand Highlander Hybrid Max, and I'll see you in the next one.